Hi, welcome to Elements in Focus. Today we're going to be talking about investment vehicles. If you are tuning in for the first time, this is where the advisor team and myself walk you through our 5 critical element process, which you can see on the screen. It starts with your life after work and works its way to legacy planning. Today I have Grant Soliven, our accredited investment fiduciary partner and longtime friend, coworker. Grant and I have done these videos for a number of years together. We get questions that come in all of the time, and so we want to break these down as simplistic as possible. And today, in the inside of the investment playbook, we're going to talk about investment vehicles. So, Grant, I'm going to turn it over to you and let you run with the topic. I know you can fill some time and make sure this is very interesting.
Absolutely, Aaron, and thank you. And for folks, it's so good to have you here, right? I mean, Aaron and I, he's my PIC, as the kids say these days. That stands for partner in crime. And so we've been doing this a long time. And Aaron, I don't know what it is you take, bro, because you get more handsome, and I don't know what's going on with me. So if after years and years of doing these videos, I also appreciate that we're going back to the basics, right? So, sometimes our managing partner Joe often talks about the double curse of knowledge.
Yep.
So, we have a lot of information in our heads, and sometimes we forget that basics need to be reviewed, right? And so, what is an investment vehicle? Let's dive right in. An investment vehicle is a tool that is used to provide you an expected outcome for your goals and objectives. So, pretty long winded answer to simply say that can be anything from an exchange traded fund, a mutual fund, a stock, a bond, a variable annuity. It can be types of real estate assets. So, think of essentially you're making a sandwich, right? Or actually, you know what, Aaron? Let's go back to some real basics. Let's talk about our old candy wrapper analogy. So when we talk
Yeah.
about investment vehicles, right, we want you to think about a wrapper system. And so when you go and buy candy at the grocery store, right, you don't just pick up the raw candy off of some shelf in the aisle. It has packaging around it. And so that initial outside packaging, we call that your tax wrapper. So
Yep.
every investment vehicle is going to have some sort of investment in it. Back in the day, Joe, our managing partner, used to talk about, when we'd have meetings with families, they'd be like, Joe, why is my Roth so risky? Well, your Roth isn't risky. Your Roth is the tax code, it's the tax wrapper. The
Yep.
candy or the solution, the investment vehicle we put inside that Roth IRA or other IRA or brokerage account, etc., is the investment vehicle. So getting back to the basics, an investment vehicle is the type of asset you're using to achieve your stated goal. And so a lot of times good planning involves using a myriad of investment vehicles. So everything from private equity, like we said, real estate, stocks, bonds, etc. And having diversification in these types of vehicles is extremely important. So if we keep using food analogies, right? And we all know I love myself some good food. You know, having a good, well balanced diet involves having multiple food groups, right? Now, whatever you subscribe to in your food selection pyramid, I'm not here to challenge that because I'm not a food expert, even though it looks like I might be one because of how big I am and how much I ingest. But really, investment vehicles are like the same thing. You need protein, you need carbs, you need fats, you need micronutrients. And investment vehicles fill the same need, right? So, like a good, healthy diet, you need real estate, you need private equity, you need equities, you need things in the portfolios to help you get your goals. And sometimes, because there's so many options, it's really hard to figure out what's best for your stated goals and needs. Now, tools have evolved to help us make those decisions, which is great, but so is the complexity. And so, this is
Mhm.
where teams like ours, at the Financial Enhancement Group, all of our talented advisory team members, can help you really look at what sandwich, what dinner, what candy, name your analogy you're trying to eat, and how do we start using effective tax wrappers and funding these things, the right investment vehicles. So, Aaron, that's a really pretty standard way to approach this. But since we're going back to the basics a little bit, I wanted to go that route. Is there anything you would add to that?
Yeah, I mean, you hit the analogies correctly, and so it is just a tool in your toolbox, and there's a vast array of investment vehicles out there. What we do is when we bring it back to the basics, we talk about this a lot, and in order to understand where you're going, you have to know where you're at, and then predict and start working towards the end in mind.
Well
And we
said.
talk so often about standard of living. Um, in order to help you get through your life after work and move into the distribution phase of life and know which car to drive, which investment vehicles or tools to help you, it really boils down to what does it take for you to maintain your standard of living. Once you have that determined, then you can put the solutions in place to help you hit your destination. And so Grant used food as analogies. I'll go into the vehicles as an analogy because we're talking about investment vehicles. Cash is an investment vehicle. That's like a tank. You're going to get there and you're not going to get wounded along the way. All the way to high, a Ferrari, Corvette, Lamborghini, whatever it is, those could be very high volatile tech stocks. And so you've got to have a mix in between a tank and a tech stock in order to figure out how to help you reach your goals. Now, investment vehicles work at different times in different portions of your life. So if you're just starting off in the accumulation phase, maybe you purchase that Corvette to get you to your destination a little bit faster, knowing you're taking on more risk. As you're starting to kind of get into that cruising altitude from an airplane standpoint into the preservation phase, maybe you start to reduce some of that risk. And as you're landing that plane, another vehicle analogy, we have to maybe adjust your risk tolerance as well and readjust the tools in your toolbox. So we talked about food, we talked about vehicles, we talked about planes. More importantly, if you have questions and you really want to understand, am I in the right products? Do I have the right mix? Do I have the right tools in my toolbox? Grant, how can people reach out to us?
Absolutely, Aaron, well said. And so as you're evaluating that capacity, like Michael Kitces in our industry likes to say it, we have tools to help you do so. So like any good practitioner of care, we're going to want to know what your capacity for risk is so we know what plane, train, lunch, sandwich, automobile you're going to be in. And how you do that is you get a hold of us through our phone number, 800-928-4001. Would love to help have a conversation and walk you through all of this. You can ask specific questions of us at talk@feg@yourlifeafterwork.com. And you can schedule individual meetings with our advisory team members that are closest to you by going to yourlifeafterwork.com or scanning the QR code you see on your screen. All of our calendars are available for 30-minute phone calls or deeper appointments, depending on your needs. And we'd love to reach out and connect with you if you're not already working with our team. So, folks, we appreciate your time in here. We hope that the basics stir up some good discussion in your home or in your situation. And we'd love to have that conversation with you. Aaron, also, thank you for the time. Always good doing this with my brother. And folks, look forward to seeing you at the next one.